Hi guys, so I am the kind of Lolita who really likes to plan everything out and plan all my purchases, plan my wardrobe, how I want it to be, how I want it to look like. And I thought it would be fun and maybe a little bit informative for newer Lolitas to kind of go over how I structure that plan and why I do so. Now, what I mean by a plan is basically a list of things I want to buy or things I want to add to my wardrobe to make it as consistent as possible. And to be clear, my goal is to have a consistent wardrobe. So this video is probably going to apply more to Lolitas who only wear one substyle or want really consistent capsules within their wardrobe, as well as Lolitas on a smaller budget or people who aren't wearing it that often who want to make sure that every single item that they have really counts. And just as a disclaimer, I don't think this is really something that most Lolitas even do, but personally I have had issues with overspending or impulse spending, and I also have memory issues. Planning my wardrobe as much as possible has really helped curb my impulse spending while I'm on a restricted budget. So for me, it makes sense to kind of plan my wardrobe and restrict it in the same way that my budget is restricted at the moment. So just to kind of sum up, my reasons for planning my wardrobe are to curb impulse spending, to keep my wardrobe as consistent and wearable as possible for myself, and also to give me something to look forward to because I really like the planning process and it lets me kind of build up the hype for my new pieces while I can't buy anything. Basically, in this video, I'm going to start out by giving some tips or things I've learned over the years. I've been in the fashion for about 4 years now, and then I'm going to go through my own step-by-step process of how I plan my wardrobe and my purchases like on a yearly basis. Please just keep in mind that this is my perspective and my experience, so if these things don't apply to you or you want to do the opposite, of course my opinion doesn't really matter like that much on your life. But if you also have issues with impulse or overspending, or you have difficulty planning, this might be helpful. So this might sound obvious, but it's important to build your plan around your wardrobe and your priorities. Building a plan like this is for after you start wearing Lolita and you're envisioning a long-term wardrobe and a long-term participation in the fashion. So what do you like to wear the most of, and what are you not going to get a lot of use out of? Those are the kind of questions that I think you should ask yourself before imagining what you want your closet to look like. For example, just because other Lolitas have like 10 pairs of shoes doesn't mean you need more than 2 or 3. You should also try and think about what you like to wear and what your personal style is outside of what's trendy in the fashion right now. This is especially important in relation to how OTT cords can be and how popular that is sometimes. So just keep in mind that what you see being praised in the community more, or even what you might be drawn to in other people's cords, might not be what you actually want to wear, and it's important to think about that when you build a wardrobe. Because if you're going to go for a super OTT suite wardrobe, you're going to need to focus on things like small accessories, jewelry, rings. But if you just want a casual, wearable, like toned down classic, then you're going to want interchangeable cardigans and stockings with like interesting textures, and so that you can make your cords as varied but still comfortable as possible. Just remember for trends that it might be a trend you actually want to wear while it's popular, but in the long term it doesn't really have room in your wardrobe, and it's important to consider what's a priority to you, meeting the trends while you have the chance, or kind of ignoring them and just doing your own thing, whether people have a big appreciation for your cords or not. And on that note, consider what you want from your Lolita wardrobe. One thing that this plan has helped me do is make my cords wearable on a day-to-day basis or in more casual settings. But you might only want to wear Lolita on special occasions, to a fancy dinner or a tea party, a convention, because you're not comfortable wearing it on your own. If you're not planning on wearing Lolita very often, you can use a plan to make sure that every single piece you have is special and fits as a part of a whole coordinate. And if you're looking to be more of a daily Lolita, a plan can help you make sure that the pieces that you're buying complement what you already have and are essentials like cardigans, socks, and headpieces that'll add variety to your coordinates instead of just being another eye-catching main piece. For example, I've added like 5 cardigans to my wardrobe this year because they just help add so much variety to my coordinates. My next personal recommendation is to look at reference pictures. You can find a lot of great stuff on the library by going through tags of themes that you'd like stars or mermaids or whatever. You can look through old street snaps, you can look through Instagram, Closet of Frills, but I think it's important to save reference specifically of stock photos. So part of having a plan is only buying items that you know you like. Of course, this comes with experience and time, like what you know looks good on your body and what you feel comfortable in. But for example, if I'm shopping and I see a blouse that has one of those like ruffly necklines and I'm thinking, okay, well, it's in the right color and it's pretty cheap, I'm gonna buy it. But then I look at all the reference pictures I have saved and they're just of blouses with Peter Pan collars, I'll probably reconsider that purchase. Do I really want a blouse with that cut? Do I even really like that cut that much? And do I think it's gonna be flattering on me? Or is it just because it's a good price and it's available right now? If you still want that roughly neckline blouse, then go for it. But the thought process is what counts, to me at least. I want to be confident that every piece that I get has a place in my wardrobe and was a smart purchase. You can't help it if something comes in, doesn't fit as expected, isn't the color you thought it would be, or ends up just not looking as good on you as you thought it would. But what we're trying to avoid, in my opinion, is buying something and then it's not even there yet and you already regret it or don't know how to cord it, which is a problem that I had in the past. This is the hardest part. Establish some rules for your wardrobe. Now, of course, this isn't necessary for probably most Lolitas or a lot of people, and your rule might be that you have none and you can just buy whatever you want and build your wardrobe in whatever way you want. But like I said, I'm on a smaller budget. I can't really afford to do that. And when you want a wardrobe that's like consistent in one sub-style, just buying whatever you want, I think might not always work. But here's my take on this. And I guess it's similar to like the overall rules of Lolita. These rules aren't there to restrict you, but they're there to help you build a personal style and a closet that really reflects your taste by making smart purchases that'll serve your budget in the long run. So here are my wardrobe rules. Anything I buy has to match 2 main pieces minimum. Anytime I buy a main piece, the next purchase that I make should be a haul of necessities or fillers that will help expand my coordinates. And it can't be another main piece. So things like a jewelry haul or a sock haul, whatever. I don't buy anything unless I'm 100% sure it's going to fit. Now, I just mean like being able to get into it and having breathing room. If it's not flattering, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't tell from stock photos. But I used to buy things that I knew would be really tight on my shoulders and bust, and obviously I would feel miserable and uncomfortable with them, so I learned the hard way to just not do that anymore. Don't buy main pieces that aren't on my wish list unless they're solid, because I don't have like a wish list specifically for solid pieces. This is kind of a new rule, but I think it's important for me. Only add a new color to your wardrobe if you can do a haul that includes 1 pair of socks, 1 blouse, 1 pair of shoes, and a headpiece. I kind of like messed around with my colors at the beginning and I added mint without actually being able to coordinate it really. And this is just so that I can cord the color as soon as I add it to my wardrobe instead of waiting and wasting time. It's always okay to buy socks and tops that are at a really reasonable price. I just love them. I love socks and I love adding tops to my closet. This is probably why I have like 20 tops in total, but I can never pass up a cheap deal. So as you can tell, these rules aren't about what the items look like so much as how they can fit in my wardrobe, how much use I can get out of them, and whether or not I think it's a smart purchase to make. And finally, my last piece of personal advice is when people in the Lolita community joke about impulse spending, overspending, shopping addictions, buying things that don't fit you, buying things that you're not going to get any use out of, buying things that don't match anything else in your closet, and new main pieces even though you can't coordinate your 5 others. Don't do it. It is fine to cope with humor, but make it clear that it's a joke, and don't be encouraged to normalize that kind of behavior by seeing other people joke about it. As someone who took it a little too lightly and, saw those jokes and was like, oh, what I'm doing is normal and fine, I would say no, it's not normal and fine, and do your best to limit yourself reasonably in a way that's not going to cause you, a ton of anxiety. Okay, so now that that's all out of the way, I'm going to go through how I build my plan. This is just a step-by-step approach for me so that you can adapt it in whatever way serves you best. So for context, I make a written plan at the beginning of the year. I update it as I buy stuff or if I happen to sell things. I also keep a wish list which is organized in like terms of priority, so like dream dresses, high priority, low priority, and I have a spreadsheet of everything that's currently in my closet, which is a video for another day. And I know that sounds like a lot, but like I said, you know, memory issues, I can't remember anything. So having a spreadsheet is important because if I can't see it, I don't know it exists. Okay, so I start with a cute little background because it's motivational. First thing I look at, so I'm gonna be using need a lot. You don't need any of this stuff, but I'm talking about like in terms of a wearable Lolita wardrobe, what I need for it, okay? So on that note, the first thing that I look at is what I need to make my coordinates more wearable and more diverse. And what I mean by wearable is like I can wear the same main piece more often in a different way, or get the most out of an accessory in a different coordinate. I focus in on what I'm lacking the most of. For 2021, that was jewelry because I had like 2 necklaces. And because it's my priority, anytime that I can afford to do a haul or make some purchases, I have to include at least 1 piece of jewelry in that haul. I just do hauls pretty much. Next, I just write up a list of things that I feel like can help improve my coordinates overall, though it's not necessarily like a huge gap in my wardrobe. And the way I try and come up with this list is by thinking about like when I'm making coordinates, what do I think of? And I'm like, ugh, I wish I had this thing. So in this case, it was a Saks long sleeve blouse or cardigan. And then it was small head accessories like these kinds of clips because I had none at the beginning of this year and it was impossible for me to do the OTT coordinates that I wanted to do. These are things that like I've thought about wanting and I just haven't gone yet. And after that, I just add lower priority stuff. These are things that I want, but I don't feel like I necessarily am lacking in them, if that makes sense. So for example, I wanted to add lavender and yellow to my wardrobe. I haven't gotten there yet because I haven't saved up enough to do like a color haul. So it's not really a big deal. I'll get there when I get there. I'd also like to add more socks, you know, things like that. Things like adding socks and headpieces are kind of like permanent goals. I think most Lolitas kind of always want to add more. So it's kind of like an omnipresent force on my low priority list. It just like moves up into priority if I'm like, oh shit, like I don't have any mint socks, but I have like 5 mint pieces or something like that. All of this stuff is written in a to shop for category, and then I arrange it into a purchasing priority order. I guess it's kind of redundant. I just realized that, but it serves me well anyway. Jewelry has to be present because it's my priority in every order, but this other stuff can be just if it's like a good deal, like the right price and the right look or cut, but I do still like arranging it in terms of what I want to buy sooner. And under that, I add my like top priority want to buy dresses, but I really don't focus on main pieces that much because I have my dream dresses for the most part, except for memorial cake. Every time I want to buy memorial cake, it's snatched out of my hands and it upsets me. But anyway, and then I finish my plan off by adding inspiration pictures. I generally go through the AP tag on the library because I love AP. I'm a basic sweet Lolita, we all get it. But I just find it the easiest to kind of go through the tag, and you can use these reference pictures to compare to like Taobao or other brands that you might like, or indie brands, or just things you happen to see on Lace Market. So I think that about covers everything. I know I made it sound a little like daunting or difficult at the beginning, but I hope you can see that making a plan is pretty easy. It's really just a thinking exercise in what you want and what you'll get the most use out of, and to learn how to spend your money that you've saved up and budgeted for wisely. Please keep in mind, like, we all make mistakes, we're all humans. I've definitely bought out of my plan before and it's really not that big of a deal, but having the structure of a plan can help minimize that. I know there's a lot of videos out there about budgeting and saving up, so I wanted to do a different approach when it comes to wardrobe building, and I hope you liked it. I hope you felt it was a bit informative, and I'd love to know how you plan your wardrobe or how you don't and manage to keep it wearable anyway. I think that's really cool. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!